What is up, Geeky Saiyan Army? It's Cannan, back with another video, and in today's video, we are now going to look at the marriage candidates for Rune Factory 5. Now, as the recording of this video, it has still not been confirmed or denied that same-sex marriage will be debuting in the Rune Factory series in this entry, but I do have a theory based on a lot of the articles that I've read for Rune Factory 5 when it comes to marriage and all that, plus some screenshots that kind of make me think there is. Now, it's just a theory, not saying it 100% is, not saying it isn't. It's just a theory that I have come up with. So once I'm done covering all the candidates, I will go over what that theory is. So stay tuned till toward the end of the video so you can see my theory. And, you know, hopefully I'm right, because I would love for this game to have it. As a huge, long-standing fan of Rune Factory, I really do think now is the time to introduce it, especially with Marvelous putting it in Story of Seasons. So, yes, we will get to that after I'm done going over every marriage candidate. There's 6 of them, so yeah, we're in for a little bit of a treat here. As always, if you do enjoy our content, please hit that subscribe button. We are getting very, very close to 350 subscribers, and as I said in other videos, we are in the final stretch to hit 400, so help us get there, guys. We love making content for you, and we want to keep making more content for you. Also, if you want to support us on Patreon, link is in the description below. Our lowest tier is just $1. The more supporters we get, the more we can use to update the channel. But if you don't, it's 100% understandable. We love you guys no matter what. Oh, and one little announcement. The reason why I have not been doing Let's Plays is that I am waiting on a capture card to arrive. It should be here as of recording of this video Friday, so it'll be the day this video releases. I'm going to use the weekend as an opportunity to get all set up, test it. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully there's no lag or anything. Fire Emblem 3 Houses is the first game I'm going to be playing with it, because that won the poll that I held, but I'll be playing other games as well. But yeah, just want to give that little notification up there. So let's get to it. So as I said, there are 6 options in this game. 6 girls, 6 guys. So I am going to go over like I did in the Story of Seasons video. I'll do a girl, then a guy, then so on till we're all through them. And then I'll also read a little description about them, plus I'll have a picture up of them. And as you can see in the background here, there are, I don't know which way they'll be, there is a picture here of some of the marriage candidates, not all of them of course, plus the male and female protagonists of the game. So let's get into our first bachelorette, and that is Priscilla. It says here, as gentle and as bright as the sun, Priscilla was born and raised in Rigbarth, which is the village in the game. Though she frequently makes mistakes, her cheerful demeanor makes it easy to forgive her. Due to a past incident, she is afraid of leaving Rigbarth, but is trying to overcome that fear. So I think Priscilla is more than likely, like, even though there are always more than one marriage candidate in these games, it seems like she may be like the main girl, kind of like how Mist was in the original Rune Factory. But it just seems like she is, because it looks like she's probably going to be on the main cover and all that. But then again, in Rune Factory 4, they really didn't have a main girl per se, so I may just be assuming there. But really like her design. I always like characters with pink hair. I always think pink-haired girls are the cutest. It's mostly because Jess used to have pink hair. That's kind of where that came from. But yeah, so that is our first bachelorette. Our first bachelor is Martin. He's a craftsman apprentice that aims to become the best blacksmith. He is quiet, which leads people to believe that he is unfriendly, but there are rumors that he secretly names his favorite tools. Martin always thinks about blacksmithing, but after meeting the hero, his world changes. So this, like, At first glance, I really thought Martin was like a knight or something, but he is a craftsman. He is wanting to be a blacksmith, and just like in a lot of these games, especially these games that have a really strong anime influence, he is going to be the character that doesn't talk much, bit of a loner, so that causes people to think that he just doesn't like people, so he's not very friendly. But, you know, I'm sure as you get closer to him, you'll find out the things about him that makes him not such a bad guy, like naming his tools, you know. And, yeah, I get to see it now. It seems like, oh, this is Gwen. She's my favorite hammer, you know. Oh, she's got a little bit of a chip. Oh, no, you know, something like that. And it kind of be like, do I want to be here right now? You know, because like, it'd be funny if your character was a little like thrown off at first, but then comes to accept it. All right, on to our next bachelorette. This is Scarlett. She is a half-elven girl who currently works as a member of Seed, which I think is kind of like a mercenary group. She is an elite mercenary who wants to follow in the footsteps of her father. She has a serious demeanor, but struggles to keep her composure. So, we have a half-elf, pretty much half human, half elf, and she is a mercenary, so she is going to be a tough girl. But it says that she struggles to keep her composure, so maybe that means she can easily get scared, she easily gets happy, she easily gets angry, you know, to where she has to keep her feelings in check. So yeah, those kind of characters that are like very tough, but then have like those weaknesses are usually favorite character tropes of mine. So very, very interested in this character. So yeah, definitely on the top of the list. So next, our first bachelor is Reinhard. He's a young knight who has pledged his allegiance to the kingdom of Norad. He is proficient in politics and is quite capable, but his reason for visiting Rigbarth is unknown. He has a strong sense of duty, which causes everyone to rely on him. However, he may show a different side of himself to the hero. So, this is our knight, and it's interesting. Like, Rune Factory games usually do have like a knight or something like that. I mean, heck, even in the very first Rune Factory, one of the bachelorettes was actually she was part of the enemy, but she became good by the end of the story, and you could eventually marry her. So he's got some secrets. It's not known why he's in town, but it seems like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, all these characters letting themselves, like, they're more what's the word I'm looking for? Like, their more vulnerable sides are being shown off to the hero, where, you know, usually the protagonists of Rune Factory are typically those characters that bring out the better parts of characters, especially when you get to know them, because Rune Factory is still like Story of Seasons, where it is a farming game, but it has more of an RPG-like story behind it. So that's why I've always liked Rune Factory games, because I love the farming of Harvest Moon and or Story of Seasons. And Story of Seasons are RPGs in a way, but this has the actual main plot storyline, side quests, fighting monsters who also are your livestock, because there are monsters that are like chickens, like cows, etc. But also has, like, you know, dungeon crawling, earning EXP to get your level up, you know, and stuff like that. So very interesting character. Very interesting to see where that goes, and maybe if it's tied to the main story. The next bachelorette is Lucy. Lucy is Priscilla's childhood friend, and she loves to exercise. She watches over Priscilla to keep her from danger. She hates to lose and will always challenge the protagonist to various contests. She easily becomes close friends with others, but can just as easily feel lonely. So this is going to be the competitive character, the one who is going to always try and compete with the main protagonist. And even though she becomes close friends very easily with people, she has that feeling of loneliness. So maybe there's a part of her character, maybe her story, to where she doesn't feel like she's getting fulfillment from these friendships, because she feels like they could easily leave her because someone in maybe their life left them as well and it hurt them. Who knows? The characters in Rune Factory always have a bit more deep storylines than Story of Seasons, so that's very interesting. Our next bachelor is Cecil. The younger brother of Martin, Cecil is an innocent young man who aspires to become a detective. He is a curious young man that can turn any situation into a case with his power of delusion and gets along well with the hero. As he grew up, he began to grow distant from his brother, but he still cares for Martin. He wants to become a detective to search for his missing parents. So this is a character where if you look at his design, he looks very laid back, but his backstory is kind of dark. Him and Martin's parents are gone, and he wants to know why. So I'm sure whether you marry him or not, once you get close to him, you can find out why, because I'm sure that'll be a side quest, and that would be really interesting, going on, like helping him do some detective work and snooping around town in the surrounding area and maybe finding out what happened. That's very interesting. I love side quests like that. So that will be very interesting to see. Our next bachelorette, I really hope I pronounced this right, is Fuqua. Fuqua is a were-animal girl that traveled to various lands before coming to Rigbarth. She seemed harsh before arriving at the town, but now she laughs at how she used to be. She cannot speak, read, or write in the human language, but can somehow tell if she is being lied to. She has an honest personality. So, yeah, we've pretty much got what looks like a wolf girl in a way, I think. I think it looks like she's kind of... I think Jess told me that it does kind of look like she's got wolf-like ears. So that is interesting. So this is not the first time we have seen marriage candidates that have, like, monster qualities. They were there in Rune Factory 4. And I think there was, like, it was 2 girls and 2 guys that were technically animal people, you know, that they have the ears and the tails and stuff like that well, I mean, technically in Rune Factory's world, they're monsters, but you know what I'm getting at. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. This seems like the kind of character that's going to be like, I don't want to say innocent, but like probably a very fun romance with how these kind of characters usually tend to be. She's very cute. She's very adorable. Cannot wait to see how that plays out. The next bachelor is Murakumo, and he is also a were-animal. Says he runs the only inn in Rigbarth. Though he is rough, he is empathic and chivalrous. His desire to entertain his customers often runs his business into the red due to providing them with extra services. Upon meeting the hero, he uses advice from customers' perspective to help revamp his inn. So this is the guy who likes to have a good time. He likes to, I guess, give his customers as much food and drink as he possibly can. So yeah, he's going to be like the very fun, you know, hospitable character. And I mean, to many guys and girls, that could be a very good marriage prospect. You know, hey, guy knows how to cook, so, you know, why not? The next bachelorette is Ludmila. She is a succubus who lives for love. Ludmila is a selfish girl who loves to do things last minute and seems to be obsessed with the main character. Boy, that sounds like a particular character from Fire Emblem Awakening. While she seems selfish, she is serious and has her own ways of doing things. Being a succubus, she used to make people unhappy, and because of this, there is a divide between her and the others. So, sounds like the townspeople may not trust her. So this is going to be interesting. This could be a really good romance in that it's probably going to be full of comedy as well, like a comedy of errors, especially since she becomes obsessed with the main character. Like, I could see most of it, as far as her love scenes go, being like comedy based and like her trying to seduce maybe the main protagonist and it ended up a failure. And then when you actually confess that you do have feelings for her, or when you propose to her, she may be touched and like we actually see the real side of her, like a very romantic, emotional side. Who knows? That's usually how those kind of characters end up. They end up being very, very romantic characters deep down inside. They just hide it with this more extravagant side of themselves. So very interested to see how that character development plays out. Next, we have the next bachelor, which is Lucas. Lucas is a mysterious traveler who appeared in Rigbarth that suffers from amnesia, which is a running thing in the Rune Factory series. Every single protagonist suffers from amnesia, so he is the same as the protagonist. He keeps records of anything of interest within a notebook that he carries with him. Although he has lost his memory, he still retains some knowledge and is a connoisseur of items like ore. Okay, so it's kind of saying that he may have some recollection of his memories, and a connoisseur of items like ore. It makes me wonder if he is going to be the character where, like, you sell ore to, or maybe he will, say, appraise ore for you. That way you can maybe raise the price of it a little bit. Who knows? But, yeah, I wonder what kind of connection he has to the main protagonist if he is suffering from amnesia as well. Or is there any connection? Is it coincidence? Who knows? This is why I love Rune Factory, because there are so many plot lines within the game. So our next and last bachelorette is Beatrice. Beatrice is a young woman who has some association with the kingdom of Norad, but appears to keep her true identity hidden. She's a princess. I'm going to go ahead and call it. She has a strong sense of responsibility and has numerous talents, including playing musical instruments and riding monsters. Total princess. She didn't intend on staying in Rigbarth, but after meeting the hero and being touched by the kindness of the townspeople, her feelings have changed. Yeah, this is a total princess in disguise. I guarantee it. She is going to be nobility that decided to stay in the town because they treat her like a real person. They don't treat her like nobility, and that's why she stayed. I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. She is a princess. Our last bachelor and last marriage candidate, I hope I pronounce this right, is Lyka. Lyka is a young apprentice carpenter. So we've got a blacksmith, a craftsman apprentice, and now a carpenter. Wow. As he is dexterous and nimble. During the day, he appears to be absent-minded. However, at night, he shows a cooler, more serious side. Okay, so if this guy is a carpenter, I'd say if you want to expand your house, maybe the places where you keep your animals, this will be the guy you got to go to. Also, he's absent-minded during the day, but at night shows a more cooler, more serious side. So could this guy be a were animal as well, or is he going to be more tied to the main plot? It's kind of giving that kind of split personality thing. Like, there was a theory years ago that the full moon could cause people to act differently, or even the nighttime could cause people to act differently. It's back before psychology really took part and people were still blaming the moon and the nighttime for evil doing and stuff like that. That's where the whole story of the werewolf came from and all that. So that's interesting. Like, you know, what could that pertain? Alright guys, so now on to my theory about this game having same-sex marriage in it. Okay, so now there's already been some stuff going around, like from anonymous people who claim they have played the game saying there isn't same-sex marriage in the game, but that's not concrete information. Like, that person could be lying out their teeth. So until Marvelous or Xseed say anything, take that with a grain of salt, okay? this is just a theory, okay? This is something I've noticed, and I'm just going to go ahead and make the prediction that this game does have same-sex marriage, and we've kind of already seen some proof of that. For one, it's how a lot of articles and things Marvelous and Xseed have said compared to another game by another company that kind of shows a difference. And that goes with, I was looking up information to see if Harvest Moon One World by Natsume was going to have same-sex marriage in it, and the thing is, every time Natsume talks about their marriage candidates, they separate them. They say, like, 5 girls, 5 guys, and that's how they keep it. Where with Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, it's always been said there are 10 marriage candidates that the player can choose from. They're doing the same thing with Rune Factory 5. Almost every article, now, granted, I've not read every article on the internet, that would take forever, but every one of them are saying there are 12 candidates in the game for players to choose from. So that is a little bit of hope. Also, there are several screenshots showing different things, okay? So I'm going to have these pop up as I talk about them. I'm only going to show one screenshot at a time, but there are screenshots of the male protagonist talking to either one of the female candidates and one of the male candidates. Same thing for the female protagonist. There are screens of her talking to one of the male candidates, and there are ones of her talking to the female candidates. And usually, whenever they show these kind of screenshots for these type of games, it's usually one of their events, one of their heart events for, you know, or whatever the events are called in Rune Factory. So going by off of this information all on its own, where Marvelous and Xseed don't separate the candidates like Natsume is, and the fact that we're already seeing screenshots of the male with guys and girls and the female with guys and girls, I'm just going to make the bold assumption as of right now, as the recording of this video, like I said, it's not been confirmed by Marvelous or Xseed, but I have a feeling based on this that yes, this game will feature same-sex marriage. I think it would be very risky on Marvelous's part for putting it in Story of Seasons but not putting it in Rune Factory. It would just not make any sense. Now, of course, you could always say, well, maybe having kids in Rune Factory is story important, but you could still get around that with adoption, or doing what they did in the remake of Friends of Mineral Town, where the harvest goddess literally gives you a baby if you're same gendered. So yeah, I'm not gonna tolerate the whole for story reasons, because technically having kids in Rune Factory hasn't been plot important since Rune Factory 2. I don't think it was in 3. It's been years since I've played 3, but I do remember in 2, because 2 was very prominent in that you played as the kid eventually. But as far as kids being story important, I don't think they were important in 4. Tides of Destiny, Frontier, any of the ones that followed 2, I don't think so. They definitely weren't important in the first one. But then again, the first one was very, very bare bones compared to future installments. So yeah, that's the marriage candidates and my take on if this game will have same-sex marriage. I definitely do think it will. If they don't, I don't think it's going to be very well received. There will definitely be people who will not play this game because of it. And I mean, that's how it goes, you know. Representation's come a long way. I really think games like this just need to make it an every entry thing, you know. But I hope it is in, because ever since Rune Factory 4, I have been waiting patiently to see if Rune Factory 5 would ever happen, especially after the original developer went under for bankruptcy. So yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be in there. There's definitely evidence that there is They've just not said it because it's still a long while until this game comes out, even here in America. It comes out in May in Japan, so I'm guessing either a summer or fall release for us. So we'll see. I just think it would not be a good look if they didn't include it in this, but include it in Story of Seasons. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification bell, click that like button. Likes really, really help. Leave us a comment. Love to hear who your favorite candidate is, who you consider marrying once you get the game, if you do plan on playing the game. And do you think this game will feature same-sex marriage? Please let me know in the comments. As always, guys, this is Canaan. Me and Jess love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Stay warm. Play some games. And I will see you in the next one. See ya.